Well, I'm gonna call the meeting to order because we're all here, and she can, we can get through some stuff before she's when she arrives. She'll be here, right? She'll be here.
Oh, so we have Susan, Sherry, Carol, Christine. Do we have Maureen? Is she coming?
Maureen, we hope so. She's not here yet, but if you
Okay.
can put her down as attending and then cross her off if she doesn't show up. But yeah, Jim and Julie both reached out to me. Julie got pulled into work. I don't know what happened to Jim.
Well,
But
it's only 6:31, so
okay. All right. Well, call to order. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Valentine's Day week. So what?
Right.
No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. It's just a big money maker for a lot of people. But I'm glad you're all here. Thank you. No member of the public is present. So I think we can move right to the minutes, which hopefully everyone had a chance to look at.
I have.
and I did send everyone the updated, and when you did as well. Karen helped to correct some things that I needed corrected, and I appreciate that very much. Let's see, a little more light. Okay.
Yep. I'm good. I did review them. Are we ready to make a motion to?
Yes,
accept them?
would anyone entertain a motion to accept?
Sure. I make a motion to accept the minutes of, what was the date of that meeting? Was it the 4th?
The 8th.
They were of January 8th. I make a motion to accept the minutes as written of January 8th, 2025.
And I second.
Okay, all in favor? Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Uh-oh, I'm supposed to, Carol, yes, me, yes,
Yes.
Sherry, yes. I'm not
Yes.
putting words in your mouth. I'm confirming that you said yes.
Yes.
Christina, yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then Karen sent us the financials today with some explanation of some things. Thank you, Karen. So,
Yeah, just so everyone knows. So the big one is the supplies that we always seem like we're underfunded. And last year we actually overspent that line and ended up cutting into our purchase services, which was fine. We had the money to do so, but both vehicles needed new tires last year and they had some other maintenance stuff. So that has the cushion for the maintenance and upkeep of both the vehicles. And it also has the gas in there. So I did, because we have underspent the gas line item, I did reallocate the funds from the gas line item over to the maintenance areas because, for example, our current budget had a tire line of $350. We can't even buy one tire for that. So I just adjusted money to more appropriately identify where it most likely would be spent. The Flex is getting older. I am in the process. Well, I'll save that for the next part. Sorry. So for the budget, we're on track. The Mystic Valley Elder Services bill came this month, so I put that on the last warrant. So that $62.75 will be expended. So we are on track for the end of the year, and I'm hoping that there's no major malfunctions in any vehicle, so that we have the funds to cover that.
can you just briefly explain what we pay the dues for? I know it's a standard charge from all senior centers, but what do we pay the dues to Mystic Valley for? What
It's
do we get?
essentially to pay into their services. So we receive far more than $62.75 worth of services. But each of the 11 communities pays that same amount in for the services of being part of the ASAP.
And the services are?
All the services we know Mystic Valley to have. So the case management, which includes, homekeeping, nurses. I would have to bring up the whole list to tell you all the different,
Services for individuals in the town, as well as like they come and do some programming sometimes. Is that what when you say services? So we have so many seniors is that how we're charged based on the number of the population?
Well, it's not charged per senior, it's charged for the town. So for the town to be a part of it. I don't have my invoice with me, but it's the same that we pay. They project out what our costs will be each fiscal year ahead. So it stayed the same for the past few years. So it's for the town to be able to receive the services. It doesn't matter if 10 seniors or 500 seniors use their services. It's the same flat rate.
Okay, so it doesn't, like, we would pay the same, would we pay the same fee as, well, like Burlington, well, Burlington, no, not, that's Mystic Valley. Malden, for example, do you think? I'm just curious. No
I don't know. I've only
judgment.
worried about my bill. I haven't asked what their bills are, but so I'm
Okay.
not sure if it's per population or if it's just to be a member.
Yeah.
So I would have to ask that if you want that information.
I'm just curious more than anything, but
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, it's a good question. I'm not sure. I've had enough to worry about with Wakefield, so I haven't worried too much about what the other towns are paying into, but I could ask
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, it might come up sometime and, or somebody might know. Okay, so I would entertain a motion to accept the financial report as presented. Maureen, we did the minutes without you, but, so if you have anything to say about the
I
minutes.
do have a comment about the minutes, actually.
All right, let's finish the financial first and then,
I make a motion to accept the financial report.
okay.
I second it. That was Carol, Sherry, seconding.
And Maureen, yep.
So Carol, your vote is yes.
Yes, my vote is yes.
I vote yes. Sherry,
Yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Maureen?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, financial report is accepted. All right, before we go to Karen's report, Maureen, what did you want to say about the minutes?
I just questioned that we're voting roll call because we're remote, but that's not recorded in the minutes as roll call. It was recorded as, all voted in favor.
Um,
So
do you
I
think
just-
in the,
I
would
I
it
think in
be,
the minutes you have to name everybody.
I think if you say all present voted in favor,
I
I
think if you do a roll call vote, you need to record it as such. I could be wrong, but maybe we could check with
okay,
Tom Mullen or something.
I'll
and
just put a little note. Does well, I know that roll call vote does require that all of us verbally say yes or no. We can't just nod our heads or raise our
Okay.
hands. We all have to say yes or no when our names are called. That's important.
Right, and that's why I think it needs to be recorded as such in the minutes, but I mean, I know that's how I do it at the Housing Authority. If we do a roll call vote, that's how it gets recorded in the minutes, so. I
You
should
know-
have looked at the guidebook. I didn't have a chance to look at the guidebook.
I've been secretary for other commissions and I've never been called to task for not listing every party who voted yes. All I've been told to do is list abstentions or no's.
I wonder if you could, like, when it's unanimous like this was, or minutes tend to be, all in attendance by roll call vote voted in favor,
That's what I would say is probably.
rather than,
But I'll double check.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll look at there's a great guidebook put out by the Attorney General's office that we can reference that talks about, minutes and votes. I didn't
you.
have time to look at it. That just kind of,
Yeah, that's a good
because
point.
of the town and the training, I want to make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah, no, thank you for bringing it up. Okay, Karen, you wanna
Yes.
give us an update, please?
Yeah, so for the director's report, you can see our numbers with our programs and our classes and our unduplicated. We were happy with the unduplicated numbers, seeing that we're still bringing people in outside of just the exercise classes and some of our regular programming. We've added some new services that we're pretty excited about, like resourcey kind of actual services for people. I think they're going to take some time to grow, but the at-home hearing healthcare people are coming in twice a month right now for hearing aid cleanings. They do some screenings, and it's a free service for people who want to sign up for that. So we're trying to really do some advertising to get the word out there if people want to come in for that service. Our foot care nurses continue to come in, and they are fully booked or close to capacity when they come in. Hot off the presses for March, the newsletters will be mailed out next week. We have a hairstylist who's going to come in, and we'll be doing haircuts for a really reasonable rate right in the center, so people can come in. And we also have Dana from the affiliated financial group. He currently is at some other senior centers, and he offers free 15-minute consults for people. So he's going to be starting at the senior center as well in April. So we're hoping to have the space upstairs that he can be at, but we think these are going to all be Sorry, Sherry, go ahead.
No, I'm just a clarification. What are his consults? Are they strictly related to tax preparation or just in
No,
general?
not tax preparation at all. So he does financial guidance. So I think it's just basic level stuff. And then, people could either make an appointment with him later, or he could just give them some general guidance. They're 15 minutes. I think he said he could do like a couple of, if it was a couple, for example, we could book them back to back for 30 minutes. And it's brand new, so we'll see how it plays out. But he is over in Stoneham right now, and it's a very popular service. And there's more about specifics in the March newsletter. I have February with me right now. I'm at home. My son's been sick. So I don't have all the details, but it's your basic financial stuff. He's certainly not going to take a whole portfolio, but he can give basics.
So he's by appointment
So those
also?
are some,
Is that
I'm
by
sorry, go ahead.
appointment? Is that by appointment also with him? Okay.
Yeah, that'll be by appointment. The only one we really are doing walk-in still is Leo. Even for the Mystic Valley Critical Team, we started to switch that to appointments because some people could come in with that service in particular and take an hour. So we didn't want people to have to wait. So we typically do 2 appointments for the Mystic Valley Critical Team. Leo, she spins through a lot of people. So we do that. And we've still been doing good neighbor applications. Health department did just get the new social services coordinator on board this week. So I think this will probably just keep the fuel assistance for the remainder of this year, but we'll have more assistance next year because she'll be in the job and can help with some of the non-seniors. But it's been great. Actually, we really enjoyed doing the good neighbor applications because we've been able to help people apply for the senior buy-in, the
Medicare savings program. Medicare savings program. Yeah.
So we've been helping people apply for that. It helps us connect with them for SNAP, talk about the food pantry. So it's been a nice addition. And then once we get through that season, I do want to look into maybe if there's space once or twice a month, having a little bit of office hours over at the food pantry to represent the Council on Aging. So
over at where? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Over where? Over
at the food pantry.
Oh, the food pantry. Okay, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and for Heart Health Month this month, we are having Bear Hill is sponsoring a healthy lunch, and they will have one of their providers come in and do a talk on heart health. So that's something we're offering for, I don't know if we put free or $2. Sometimes we put a small charge just so people show up because it's a catered meal. And they are also sponsoring a spaghetti dinner in March for us. That will be in the evening, so people can come in the evening. It was a nice time. The last time we did it, it was we had a lot of couples come, so that was nice to see, kind of like a free date night to come to the senior center. $2 each date night at the senior center. No liquor license, so they have to just drink my water.
And both of those are in March?
The Heart Health is at the end of February, and the nighttime dinner is in March. And the Memory Cafe we just had was really successful. So we are continuing to have a large group of people at our caregiver support group. That's truly one of my proudest things at the senior center. I love the caregiver support group. It's so nice to see everybody have connected. They really have gotten all very close, and they come bad weather, good weather. They're always there and continue to bring their loved ones. So it's been really nice to see and to have that. So we're happy to have that go on. But otherwise, it's really a lot of the same stuff. The AARP tax people are back. They are amazing. We're so happy to have them back again this year. We are fully booked through essentially April. So the appointments went pretty quickly. But they have three to four preparers doing, I think we have 4 preparers that are doing taxes, or no, 3 preparers doing taxes, and they each do 4 appointments. So it's a great service that we continue to offer. And it's been primarily Wakefield residents this year who have signed up. But I think that's it. I have one, and I can't remember if they're listed separately on the agenda, and I apologize. I forgot to print it out and bring it home. But one opportunity for volunteering if anybody is interested, and that would be the St. Patrick's Party, which is on St. Patrick's Day. The luncheon, we are serving, Brightview is donating shepherd's pie for us again. So we'll have 3 large trays of shepherd's pie, and then we're going to get cake for dessert, and we have some rolls. So just to help serve, and no pressure if anybody can't. I can also reach out to our counselors, and I'm sure a few of them would like to, but I wanted to give this group the opportunity first if anybody wants to come.
And what time would you, that's a Monday, what time would you need people there?
The party starts at noon. It's being kicked off by our POMs. The Pomtastics will kick us off. And then as soon as the Pomtastics are done performing, we're going to serve food. And then the special treat is Maureen Howlett is coming back to be our entertainment. Everybody loved her last year, so I asked her if she'd be willing to come back again this year, and she is. So I'm not sure what she's got worked up. I know she's working hard on it. So I think it'll be nice for everybody who knows her so well to have her come back, and I think it'll just be an enjoyable. Everybody loved it. People, when they were leaving last year, pulled me aside and said, "Karen, that's the best time I've ever had." So they loved how engaging she was and just how nice she is. So it'll be nice to have her back at the center for that.
I would be happy to help, to volunteer.
Thank you.
Well, I helped last year as well, so I know exactly what we're gonna be doing.
I
And
just
what
don't-
time did you say, Karen? I'm sorry, I just want to put it on my calendar.
The 17th at noon is when it starts.
At
And
noon.
we don't need a whole lot of help setting up. We can do all that. So
Okay.
that's good to go. It's really just once we hit noon and we need to start serving people so that we can serve as hot as possible. Some
Okay,
feedback we got from last year, we're going to keep our chafing dish out while we're serving to keep the food hot while we're scooping. And then we'll just switch the one from the oven in there, and that should help to keep it hotter. From our last spaghetti dinner, we got some feedback that it wasn't hot enough for people. So we're
Oh.
trying our best to keep it as hot as possible. Tricky when you're serving that many people.
Yeah, yeah. So is it a buffet or it's plated service? It's like we deliver the food to the tables.
Yeah, it'll
And
be
that-
plated
okay.
service. We're gonna have
Yeah, that's
rolls.
nice.
Last year they gave us Irish soda bread too. I don't know if they're going to do that this year, but I have some of the rolls from the restaurant depot that they all love that we'll bake and put out in the center of the table, like we do at the
Very
holiday
nice.
party.
It sounds like a fun event.
Yeah, now we just hope for no snow or freezing rain on March 17th, please.
Is there a rain date or a snow date or
We would have to
Understood.
make one. It will probably be the next day. So we'll just watch the weather closely and work with Brightview, because it would be, they would have the food most likely already made. So we want to have it as close as possible to when
okay, well,
the
hopefully.
original was supposed to be.
Okay,
But I
thank
think
you.
that's it for me. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I have a
And when I say
question.
Bear Hill, I mean the rehab, not the golf course.
Say that again? You're a little
When I say Bear
fuzzy
Hill,
to
I
me.
mean rehabilitation center, not golf course. I shouldn't
think
just call them Bear Hill. I should say Bear Hill Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, so that the golf course is not getting credit for all of the work that the Bear Hill Nursing and Rehabilitation Center is doing for us.
I get it, okay. I think I need to come in for one of those hearing tests. Thank you.
I think it's me. I'm talking too fast, and it's hard on the computer.
I do have a question, like the things like the tax and the foot doctor, the foot nurse, and where we run out of appointments, you run out of appointments. What happens to people? Do people can they register for the next time? Or how do you handle that? That must be some pressure on the desk at times.
And the foot care nurses can add more appointments if we need them to. Taxes, we don't have that capability. So unfortunately, if they don't get in for taxes, we can refer them to other potential free resources, but we don't have the ability to add more time slots onto that. But for the other things, they're all new enough. So we'll see how they go, if they fill up, if the person's
The
able to
demand
add
is,
more.
okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the woman who's doing our haircut had said she's starting with 1 day a week, or she might even be starting with 2. And she said she could adjust her schedule as needed. So some flexibility with some of those programs. The same with the hearing clinic. She can add more appointments if she needs to. So the only one that really is a hard, we can't fit anymore, is AARP taxes.
The tax and the shine, the Medicare counseling.
Oh, fine. I'm so glad you said that, Susan. We have a new shine counselor. We're very excited. His name is Larry. He just started this week. He had 3 full appointments, and he's already booked out for a couple of weeks. And he also is willing, he's willing to stay on board once Claudia returns. So we'll go back to having 2 shine counselors. And Claudia is actually looking forward to doing some afternoon appointments when we have our new space upstairs. So we'll be able to offer morning and
Good,
afternoon.
yeah.
So I apologize to Larry if you're watching. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to forget you, but we're very excited to welcome Larry onto the team.
Excellent.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, I have to ask you to backtrack because you do speak very, very quickly. You said
I'm
something
sorry.
about the food pantry, doing something at the food pantry?
Oh, yeah. So it's been such a nice thing during fuel assistance to really see some people that we don't always see, that maybe just come in for help with fuel assistance, and be able to interact with them and look at services. I think I'm going to once a month try and go over there to the food pantry to just do some office hours over there, just to introduce myself, see what services we have at the senior center, go and hang out. Jason used to go Or and the new woman, Sandra, will have hours there too. So maybe go over once a month with her. It's in the morning before Beth gets there, so I would most likely go.
You're talking about the food pantry in the AmeriHall.
Yes.
Okay.
But I think it's a good way to connect and make sure people know, hey, you don't have to, if you don't want to come to the programming, it's okay, but we can still help you with other things.
What's her name?
Do you have
Sandra?
a-
Oh,
Sorry.
Sandra?
Yeah, I can't remember if it's Sandra or Sandra, but
Anybody know
she
Maureen, you
started
know?
Tuesday. She
Okay,
just started yesterday.
okay.
She's wonderful. She's going to be a great addition to the health department and a great person for us to partner with. So we're excited to have her on board as well. Oh, and the snow angels. I'm sorry. The snow angels we've had 2 storms that they've been deployed for. They've been successful. So far, we've been able to match most of the people who wanted a snow angel and all of the people who had signed up by the cutoff date for the snow angel. So that's been, so far, knock on wood, off to a good start.
Good.
Liz has stepped right into that role as the youth advisor, and we have a great youth council member who I'll invite to the next meeting, who is going to be our liaison, and she's great. So she'll be a nice addition for us too. So I'll invite her to the next meeting. She does track, so I haven't gotten a chance to connect with her in person yet, but I'm
Well,
hoping to do that.
she's not a senior, is she? Is she a junior? What is she? Do you know?
I don't know because I haven't got a chance to interact with her yet. We've been exchanging emails trying to find the right time to meet up. So it might have to be after school vacation at this point.
Yeah, well, that's right. School vacation is next week, so yeah.
It's not Ava, right?
No,
Okay.
Laurel.
Ella?
Laurel.
Laurel, okay. No, because I've had the great pleasure of doing some work with these students from the Youth Council through the HRC recently, and they are just wonderful.
And sorry, one last thing. I should write my things down so I don't keep doing that. We have welcomed a student from the Wakefield Post Academy. She comes every Tuesday with her instructor to do different jobs around the center. So when we open upstairs, I'm excited we'll have some more capacity for her to maybe help out in other ways. Right now, she's been helping us with cleaning our gym equipment and cleaning up the tables and doing some other work like that. I'm reaching out to other department heads to see if they have anything paperwork wise they want to have her help with. I could go pick it up and bring it back to the center. But if anybody else has any ideas they think that could be helpful for us as a board for Sophia to help with, I would be happy to take that input and see if we can find some more stuff for her to do. But she's wonderful. She's been a nice addition to us at the senior center. So we're excited to welcome the Post Academy and to have our student there with us.
And she comes in twice a week, you said?
No, she comes in for a couple of hours every Tuesday.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm looking for things that might be a little more exciting until we open. Once we open, I'm going to have her do more maybe with the food pantry and some other stuff, but I'd like to find something different. And of course, the newsletters are going to be folded and gotten ready next week, but it's school vacation. Murphy's Law.
Let's see, what is the update on upstairs? The floors?
Floors are done. Well, they look done. I think they
I
maybe
mean, the
just have to
floors, the opening of the floors, that, I guess, the whole package, what is the update?
The plumbers were there today working on the bathroom. The floors are mostly finished. I think they need to come in and do the final touches, but they've all had the top coats put on them. So we're making progress. I do not have a date, so I'm not even going to try and guess anymore. But we're making progress. We're excited.
The fact that they won't be sanding anymore is going to make everybody who takes an exercise class very happy.
Yes, it will.
It's very hard to do Tai Chi meditatively, when there's so much noise above you.
There's a giant sander standing the floors right above you. Yeah, it makes for great yoga and Tai Chi.
Really bad. And Tai Chi is very quiet.
But I do believe that is all I have. I promise this time.
Thank you, Karen. That's as usual, tons going on, new stuff, which is great, and things are percolating. So, thank you. Any other questions for Karen or comments? Okay, thank you. Carol, any news from the housing production group or status quo?
Our meeting was canceled. That would have been last week. We have an in-person meeting next week, I think on Tuesday, to begin to actually brainstorm and craft the plan. So I was not able to attend, but I think Noah Harper, who's the consultant, presented last night at the planning board on an update. I don't know if anybody went to the planning board meeting or attended. So more to come, I'm sure, after next week. He did send around a copy of the plan that they recently completed for Danvers, just to give us some ideas. And there was a specific section in there on senior housing, and they have a whole section on, in Danvers anyway, on the need for senior housing and also the need to retrofit some houses and make a plan about that. So I will be sure to go in person next week and ask that we have a whole separate section in the plan for the senior community. So I will let you know. And I know while I'm on the housing production plan, for last time, I think we had talked about ADUs and suggesting a program. That was also, I think Sam Elliott talked about that last night, but there is going to be a public meeting on March 11th about ADUs in the public safety building or via Zoom. But the details aren't out yet. They said it, excuse me, will be on the planning board site. So as people want to learn more about the accessory dwelling units, I think there'll be a lot to come in the upcoming months.
An email, I haven't read it, but I got an email today about that meeting.
Yeah,
I don't know if it has dates and times. Do you think it doesn't have those details?
I think it has the March 11th date in it at 7 o'clock at the public safety
Okay.
building.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I wrote it down, and it has the Zoom, but it said more details about the meeting will be
Okay,
available.
forthcoming.
Yeah.
Great.
Does the
Progress.
board
Thank
think it would be, sorry to interrupt, does everybody think it might be a nice idea if I see if Sam wants to host one at the senior center that we could do for senior specific during the day?
I think that's a great idea, Karen, and I think, maybe either constructing an ADU in their home or living in one are real viable options for people as they look ahead. So it seems like it may be interesting, and I don't know how many people know about it. I mean, the ADU acronym is sort of thrown around, but accessory dwelling unit is it's not intuitive. Let's just put it that way.
a cabin in the backyard for
Right.
grandma.
Well, if we have one at our senior center, I think we should also suggest that people bring children they have in the community who own homes. Because,
Great idea.
yeah, I think it would be a good idea because they might have the larger home, the backyard, and that's where mom and dad might move. And I know I grew up in a tiny little house and we had an it wasn't legal. It finally became legal, I think, 30 years after my parents paid off their mortgage using the rent. But they had a little accessory dwelling in their house, and it served as a transitional housing for young people, young women who were living on their own for the very first time. And they became like part of our families because they could afford it, because it was reasonably priced. So it's been around for a long, long time. It's finally being legally recognized just about everywhere. In Europe, they've been doing it forever. We're behind on that.
They affectionately, I guess, call them granny flats, which, being a granny myself, is not really my favorite term, but you often hear them called granny flats.
Maybe better than ADU, I don't know, but because ADU is like IUD or something, what is it?
That's great.
What is it?
IUD, I love it.
All right, thank you. The Affordable Housing Group, Maureen, anything going on with them, with you?
We did have a meeting and we are actually scheduled to meet tomorrow night as well. And we did talk about the ADUs as well, but we didn't finish our conversation, but I feel like, and from Karen, that we talked about, I don't know if we could ever use some of the funds that the trust has to, help people with maybe some design costs, to try to help facilitate some folks being able to do this, because that's probably where a lot of the cost is the upfront cost, never mind the building. So we talked about that because they are probably going to be considered affordable, or in most instances should be. And I don't think that we just talked more about the need for housing, and we really haven't come to any kind of planning yet on how we're gonna go about that. But Sam Elliott has been tasked by the town manager to figure something out, so we'll see what happens tomorrow when we get together again. But we did talk about the ADUs and the RAP program again, the resident rental assistance program has been, moving forward. She's helped quite a few people now, so that's a good thing. We keep promoting that.
So there's money left, obviously, so,
Well, right, the RAP program was the money from the ARPA funds. and
yeah,
Was, I think, $700,000, from some other funding source that's been sitting on for years. So that's kind of task that the group is trying to figure out. How do we address affordable housing and how do we utilize those funds? And, there is no plan right in place to kind of receive more funding. So, how do we go about
yeah,
it?
yeah.
And I'm not sure. So, poor Sam, she's got a lot on her plate right now.
All right, thanks, Maureen.
You're welcome.
Karen, the next item is the age-friendly action plan, just to check in on that and see what we can do to facilitate or support or help or do any more. How's that coming?
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Oh, sure, sure.
Do we have a last name for Noah, the consultant who presents to the planning board?
Harper.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's what we're here for.
I'm almost done with the progress report. I'm just waiting for some numbers from some of the department heads that were going to get me some information to send back. And then I'm going to put it together and I'm going to ask Steve Mayo for a letter in support of to attach with it. And then hopefully be submitting it by the end of the month.
Great, thank you.
I'll send it out to everybody at the same time that I send it out. So you have it, so we can have it for the next meeting to look at, but the next meeting is after when the due date is. So I'm going to send it out, but I'm sending it to some of the key players from the town who are part of it as well to do a quick look at it too, to make sure I didn't miss anything. But it took the approach of we're doing each domain with key accomplishments with each domain and then goals that we're continuing towards. So some of them are meatier than others because we've done a lot more. So housing, transportation, all of those have quite a bit. And then some of the other ones have not quite as substantial, but still they're at least highlighting all the accomplishments that we've been able to do. And then we as a board can continue to build on the work that Christina helped me with, where we put it together on the sheet of what we as a board want to have as our main focus items for us to work on.
Okay, great. Any questions about anything that we've discussed so far or revisit? Everybody's so quiet. All right, matters not anticipated. I'm gonna bring this up. It has to do with board composition and what's happening with our board. I think, we talked a little bit about at one point that everybody knows that we have 3-year terms. People have 3-year terms. And this April, we have 3 openings, 3 people that are whose terms are up, and that is Christina, myself, and Sherry. And Christina, at this point, is gonna save her remaining 3-year term for another time in the future, but hasn't applied to be with us for the next 3 years anyway. Sherry and I have both applied to be part of the board, so hopefully we'll be recommended to continue. And we have 2 applicants for 1 available slot. So the 2 applicants, Karen and I have talked a bit about both of them. I have talked on the phone to one of them. I'm going to speak on the phone to the other one soon. I'm trying to arrange a time to do that. And I think we've got a good applicant pool from which to choose. And I think that as this moves forward, that will hopefully be adding a lot of adding talent and interest and enthusiasm to the board to bringing somebody else on in May. So, Karen, do you want to add anything to that or?
No, just so that we can send as a board, we can send a letter if there's somebody that we would like to recommend for the position, but town
Right,
council
right.
actually appoints the person, so they're the
Yeah, it's
ultimate.
town council. It's not our final decision. It's, and it does turn out, we have investigated kind of what is there a formal process that the town has identified for when there's more than one applicant for a board? And there isn't a formal process, other than interviewing them, talking to them, seeing what their interest is, making an assessment before we make our recommendation to the town council. So, that'll be happening. And I don't think it's a closed secret process, so if anybody, if anybody would like to review resumes, or if anybody would like to have any input, I welcome that, certainly. Um, I don't think that's out of bounds, is it, Karen? That's not, or Maureen?
I
That's
think
not
it would be appropriate if they talk to you one-on-one, not to do it in a public forum like this.
Oh, no, not to do it in a
Yeah,
public
I mean,
forum like
yeah,
this,
I
but
think
it
if you
just in
sent it out,
terms
then
of,
it would be-
if anybody here wanted to see the resumes of the people that applied, I'd be happy to share those. Maureen?
Yeah, I would like to see them. I know it will be public information when the town council talks about it. They'll give the
Okay.
names of the people that apply. And I think their resumes become part of their board packet too. So, I
Okay.
mean, if the board's gonna recommend someone as a group, then I would like to see them, so.
Okay, all right. Well, after I talk to this other applicant, the second applicant, I will send out the applications. And to be in fairness, that would include Sherry's in my application because,
Yeah.
we're candidates. If you
And
wanna,
when is it scheduled for the town council meeting? Do you know
not
what date?
till April.
April, not till April. Oh,
April,
that's
yeah,
right.
sure.
Right,
Yeah,
but
sure.
are they gonna try to get it in March, like before your terms are up? So that we
Well, our
can.
terms enter at the end of April.
The end of
Sherry,
April.
I forget the exact date that Sherry Dalton told me she needed it by, but it's like the beginning of April.
Okay.
So before the town council meeting in April. Our recommendation, we certainly can submit it sooner. And I'd like to,
Yeah.
I would like to, I don't want to dally on the process. Let's make it happen. Okay.
No, I
So
think it's a great idea, Susan, if you send it out to everybody, and then if anybody either wants to reach out to somebody, or if they have questions they want to send to you that you may have for the person, then they could send them
Yeah,
directly
yeah,
to you.
yeah, I would-
Highlighting with the meeting
I
law
think
with them,
that,
or-
right, I think maybe that would be, if you do have questions for the person, you might want to, since I will have established contact with both, this is not about power, this is just about the communication, first send it to me, unless you know them, and if you know them, then you can, do whatever
Okay.
is appropriate based on the relationship you have with them.
And Susan, Sherry had also suggested if we want to, we can invite them to a meeting. So maybe we invite them both to the March meeting and see if they want to come and introduce themselves and take that opportunity to say, oh, hey, I'm hoping to join your board or something. But before I forget to, Christina, if you are able to come to either St. Patrick's or to the spaghetti dinner, I would love to be able to publicly thank you for your time on the board. We didn't get to do that when we had our last turnover. And I know we may not be able to because you may have things going on, but if you are able to attend something in the next couple of months, I would like to do that. I think it's a nice thing for us to start doing as a board member leaves, because we very much appreciate the 3 years that you've dedicated to us and everything you've done for us on the board. So I would like to be able to publicly thank you in front of our seniors.
Very thoughtful. You will always have my support, whether I'm on the board or not. I will take a look at my calendar and get back to you.
Spaghetti dinner, that's at night, so maybe that would be a little more, I don't know. Just,
Susan, I'm trying to think about how to phrase this. But if a recommendation needs to come from the board about who fills the 3 open positions,
mhm.
we have to be careful for you and Sherry, because you're essentially, do you know what I'm saying? Your positions are up. So we want to make sure when we make our recommendation to the board that it's as clean as possible without someone potentially saying, wait a minute, it could have been those 2 candidates and Susan or Sherry.
Yeah, I
So
understand
I'm
what you're
just
saying, yeah.
thinking about that, having been caught at another point in my career and sort of something a little bit similar, and wanting to make sure when we send something to the board, that we're doing it as crisply as possible. Does that make sense to
It
everyone?
does, it
Or am
makes
I-
absolute sense, yeah, it makes absolute sense.
And if we do send a letter, then maybe send it, signed by the vice chair, so that it's not Susan and not Sherry. That probably makes perfect sense, Carol. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And then there's nobody coming back at anybody. You know, I'm sure it's gonna go that you and Sherry come back. It's not that I am suggesting that, but one of those two people won't be selected.
Right, right,
Wouldn't want that person to come back and say, well, how is that fair? Those two people, right,
right, right.
Recommended themselves.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's a really good point, Carol.
Well,
That's a
we're
good
lucky
point.
to have a choice because sometimes there's nobody, you know,
Right.
I
step,
know.
so it's a good thing.
Right.
I
Oh,
think-
I'd love to tell the story about how I was appointed to the Council on Aging and they say, oh, were there a lot of candidates? And then I have to fess up and say it was just me, but it's,
Oh, we had
it's a
6
great
last
story.
year. We had 6 last year. Don't you know that?
Right, right.
We had,
Actually, we may want Karen to be the one to send the word on the
I
behalf.
was thinking that maybe it's
Yeah,
Karen's
rather than one
signature.
of us.
Maybe it's Karen and Christina's that go, I don't know, that it
It's, you
goes
know,
over. Yeah.
After discussions with the board of the Council on Aging, we would like to recommend the following candidate and just leave it at that. You know, and also say, and we would, and she also can say, and I would like Sherry and Susan, I hope, to continue.
Of course.
Okay, I can do that. And I will reach out to both of them and invite them to the meeting next month.
I would
Officially.
like to give them a time slot to the whole meeting, or what are you thinking, Karen? Because when we
As the
talked the other
public?
day, I thought you weren't necessarily in favor of that, so I'm hearing a little
Um,
different take on it right now.
Yeah, no, I hadn't thought about it. And then when we heard back from Sherry and she said she recommends that we invite them, I thought, well, that's a good idea, right? Because then they can actually see what the board does and what the meetings are like too. And they may come to a board meeting and then say, oh, I don't think I want this. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've watched the meetings in the past or what they want to do. So I think it's worth inviting them. If they want to come, great. If they don't want to come, then they don't have to. I know when I was on the Commission on Disability, it was a similar thing. People did come to the meeting to introduce themselves before being appointed. So they don't have to come, but I think they
They
would be
don't,
welcome to.
Yeah.
And it's an open meeting, so we probably can't really limit their time.
Well,
or
that's true. That's true.
Suggest
Unless
that they leave or something.
yeah.
Is there any
Mhm.
alternate slot? Like I'm already feeling bad for whichever person isn't selected who was lovely enough to come forward. Is there ever anything to do for that person?
Not unless there is a vacancy.
Not
And-
unless there's a vacancy,
And
okay.
usually it's up to the current chair to make that determination if there's a vacancy, you know, midterm vacancy.
How could there be a vacancy? What, do you mean a board vacancy, Sherry?
Like if
Just a-
if I left in next year in September, right, I moved to Maine. So there was a vacancy.
Actually, then the seat would become, I have to tell you, I've had this happen. The seat will be open and you have to wait until the next application process and it has to be approved. Someone could apply right away and it has to be approved by the board. They send out those notifications of openings on a very
Yeah, they
regular
do,
basis.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know how many people pay attention to them very often, but because people who would like to serve are looking. That's what I have found. They are looking. Because it's not the kind of thing where people just read the general broadcast very often. They are looking. So, but anyway, if there is an opening, it stays open. And
It
there
stays
has,
open.
and the town council has to approve an official application.
so we couldn't
Just
say to
tracking-
the
And it's an
runner-up,
unexpired term.
I got it, okay.
So Sherry, when you say a vacancy, I'm still not clear on what you are referring to. Like the rejected applicant or the applicant that we don't recommend, what would be an example? Or any board, not just this one, but what would be a vacancy? I mean, a special project?
No,
or
a
something?
vacancy would only be if a sitting board member has to step down
Oh, okay,
or
okay,
doesn't continue after their term is over. That's
okay.
I had someone midterm actually, decide that she could not continue.
Okay.
We had to wait until the next round of applications came in and the town council to review and approve.
Yeah, we did had that last year. I think it was last year when somebody had to leave in the middle of her term.
And then
we
you just end up short. I mean, the HRC has been operating short
Okay, Yeah,
quite a while now.
okay. Okay, so I will contact or I've already contacted, but be in touch with this other applicant, and as soon as I have the conversation with them, I'll send out all 4 applications and resumes. So there's 2 things. There's a resume and then an application that, if you remember, why do you want to be part of this group? So,
And I want to make a correction. I misspoke before. The chair can't just assign somebody. It has to be the town council if there's an,
okay, that's why
have to
I
go
was a
through the
little
process.
confused. Okay,
Just,
that's what I was
just look
confused,
it
yeah.
up. I misspoke.
Okay, and just so you know also that, we will have elections for board chair, board vice chair, board secretary in May. So it's not like in recommending Sherry and me, or if we do, if the board recommends us to have another term, that we're not necessarily recommending us in our roles, or there will be an election in May. So, okay. All right, thank you all. All right, anything, other matters not anticipated that would like to be discussed?
I would just like to, as a whole, thank the entire senior community for the support they gave us in this community project. Um, giving the warmth of winter care. We had a fantastic amount of donations. Today, I went to the Malden Warming Center with 2 giant bags, and when she saw the quality of the new things in that bag, it was just, I mean, there were things that I would want. I mean, they were that good that people came out and gave us wonderful stuff. And we had a really nice turnout on Saturday morning, worked very quickly, and identified, and I actually have sent out a press release on this, and it's on our Facebook page. It's going to be on the HRC website as well. We identified 5 different organizations, including the care closet at the high schools, the food pantry, because we've been told that people actually, when they come in, sometimes ask if there are any mittens or hats or things for their children. The Stone Church Clothing Closet, which is a wonderful service, the Malden Warming Center, and an organization I've just learned about called Mothers Helping Mothers, that's out of Melrose Wakefield Hospital, because we were looking for an organization that specifically worked a lot with small children, because we had all these tiny little mittens and socks and hats, and we wanted to make sure they went to the right places. So thank you to the senior community. Thank you to all of you if you threw things in the bag. There were bags down in the lobby, and I was overwhelmed with gratitude at how much people gave. It was great.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Just in time for a couple more storms too, so it's good.
Ah,
Well, thank you for doing it. Okay, well, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Maureen,
Second, Christina,
Christina, second. Is this a roll call? No, this is not a roll call, is it? Is it a roll call? All right, Maureen?
I think they all are, right? Am I wrong? Is that what we were instructed to do, right?
no, I don't think
Yeah.
closure.
What's
But-
it?
I don't think we have to formally. Well, we can, if you want to just be sure.
Let's just, yeah, all right, so Maureen, you said yes.
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes.
Susan, yes. Carol?
Yes.
Christina?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. All right,
night,
happy
everyone.
Valentine's Day. I love you all in that kind of way, a different kind of way, but you're all people to love. So happy
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Yeah.